Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25. A big one for you here today, a rematch of last year's Super Bowl LXII, which saw the Buffalo Bills take down our Salt Lake City Snowhawks 29-26 in devastating fashion as Josh Allen led a game-winning drive there towards the end of the game. We squandered a 17-0 lead, and what was a devastating, heartbreaking collapse in that Super Bowl. We kind of got memed over the past year, kind of our similar situation to the Falcons, 28-3. For those who are familiar with that, we were memed at 17-0, and we ended up still losing that Super Bowl. But a fresh season now, our Salt Lake City Snowhawks at the top of the NFC at 11-3, as we're looking to hold on to that top seed and ensure we get that first round bye, as we already have clinched a playoff spot. But there is more work here to do, as we're now underway here from Week 16 here at Buffalo, taking on the 7-7 Buffalo Bills, as they currently are leading the AFC East, a very closely contested division there, as they're going to take over at the 23. Good coverage there on the opening kickoff as Josh Allen, he's won 2 of the last 3 MVP awards, and he's certainly in the conversation this season, along with Lucas McDonald. Allen, very good numbers, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 3,700 passing yards, and his completion percentage very much up from last year, as he has Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and also Treylon Burks actually leading the team right now in receiving. A big injury as James Cook, their feature back, is going to be out this week, so we kind of get a little bit lucky on that one. Now, Allen's first drop back here from the pocket going to go for, I think that's Treylon Burks, as that gets 8. Burks, of course, drafted by Tennessee, signed with the Bills going back to year 1 or the year 2 offseason, went back to Tennessee, and has now since come back to Buffalo. So just going back and forth between Buffalo and Tennessee, as Allen, his second pass, going to hook up with his running back that time for 8. And that's Matthews, one of the young backs here, going to try and ease the blow left behind by James Cook. Also, Joe Middleton, the other back we're going to see on display here, as Matthews does go out wide to the bottom of the screen. Now first down, Allen from the pocket, as again over the middle of the field, does have his running back, Batarion Arnold, there in coverage, knocks that one incomplete. Offensively, the Bills pretty much the same as what we saw in the Super Bowl, of course, but they're without James Cook in this game, as Allen here on second down, as he will fire to the sideline, and he is able to, I thought he was able to hook up with Treylon Burks, but that one incomplete. A tough one there, going far sideline with good coverage on the play, and that makes it 3rd and 10 now at the 39. Salt Lake City trying to force the punt. And Allen up the seam trying to hit Shakir, but that one just out of his reach. And now bring on Corey Bojorquez for the punt here, as the Bills stall out on their opening drive of the game. And now that's going to be Dak Kitchens back there. I'm sorry, that's actually Drew Collins, as he breaks initial contact, takes that to the 19-yard line, and now we'll see Lucas McDonald currently 5th in the MVP conversation, Josh Allen at 3rd. So this one, a big head-to-head matchup. We took down Patrick Mahomes earlier in the season, and the numbers there very similar to that of Allen that we saw. 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for McDonald, and he's made a very big impact on the ground as well. In last year's Super Bowl, he had a decent game, although did throw a couple interceptions, both of those to Corey Harris, as he has lived in our nightmares. Now McDonald going to step up and run on his first drop back, as he takes that past the 40-yard line, and that's going to go for 23 yards. We'll never forget Corey Harris with 2 interceptions in last year's Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. I think now in his 4th year. McDonald from the pocket, his first pass attempt, and so he'll check that down for Carlos Alvarez, picks up 7. Alvarez leads all receivers in catches and receiving yards entering this week, but still trailing Puka Nacua by 1 touchdown. McDonald again on the drop back and a step up and run as he works past the 50 and now into the 35-yard line down to the 32, and that's about another 20 yards for McDonald on the scramble. In last year's Super Bowl, McDonald had, I think, 88 rushing yards or something of that figure, as Allen actually had over 100, along with 2 rushing scores as well, and being en route to being named the Super Bowl MVP. Despite that, I thought it should have gone to Corey Harris. 2 interceptions, including that late one, as we had a 5-point lead on the goal line, and we threw an interception very reminiscent of the Seahawks from all those years ago. And Greg Rousseau, one of the most tantalizing pass rushers in the NFL, double-digit sacks every season so far of this franchise, and that's going to make it 12 now on the season, make it an even dozen for Greg Rousseau. He signed a long-term extension with the Bills at, I think it was 4 years at $120 million overall. And right on the next play, he gets right back into the backfield and taking down Lucas McDonald, which forces us out of field goal range. We lose 12 yards on both of those sacks. Now back to the 44, which will bring on Logan Cook for the punt. And we are going to sim a drive aside after this one. Hopefully Cook can pin him back. And that one going to go all the way back to the 4-yard line, as a tremendous punt that time from Logan Cook. We see the MVP standings right now. Mahomes leading the way, followed by Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen here currently at third. I did forget to go back out of the slow sim, so I guess we'll just watch this one play as they're going to hand that off to Matthews or Middleton, one of those backs, as he does get 5. And now here to the normal sim for the first time, 2nd and 5. They get 15 yards for Khalil Shakir. And now a first down as they get sacked by Caleb Patton. I think his 12th or 13th now of the season, as he's a very similar total there to Greg Rousseau. And they go incomplete now on 3rd and 19, backed up all the way at their 15, and that's knocked away by Terrion Arnold. Again, our defense gets a job done, forces the punt, as we get tremendous starting field position now at our own 45-yard line. Hopefully we can take advantage, although we do go incomplete there on first down. 4 yards for Bigsby, now bringing up 3rd and 6, and we do get the conversion there for Carlos Alvarez, now at Buffalo's 34-yard line, make it a 5-yard scramble for McDonald, 2nd and 5, and we get 5 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr., but still not the first down, 3rd and inches now. And we get a 24-yard touchdown for Carlos Alvarez, which now ties him with Puka Nacua for the most touchdowns in the NFL right now with 14, as he's trying to secure that receiving triple crown. And he is vying for that, although Travis Weldon of Baltimore, a tight end, has over 100 catches. So Carlos Alvarez has to surpass him now in receptions. The Bills are going to get another chance here on offense, taking over at the 24-yard line. Just back-to-back punts so far on their efforts, as Josh Allen, their 5th right now in passing yards, McDonald 3rd. Allen started off very slowly in last year's Super Bowl, but came on very strong in the second half. Now here on the 3rd drive for Buffalo, as he's able to hook up with Dalton Kincaid, and Kincaid absolutely tore us up in the Super Bowl as well, over 100 yards and also a touchdown, as he and Mark Andrews kind of went tit for tat last year, as Andrews also 100 yards and I believe a touchdown as well, as the battle there of the tight ends. Now on 2nd and 4, they go to the running game, and that will get the first down. Now stack in the front, but Allen will go on the drop back, and he'll be brought down for the sack. He also fumbles, but picks up his own fumble, and that will go for a 9-yard loss. I thought we were going to be able to secure and scoop up that fumble. I'm not sure who was in on the sack. It might have been Caleb Patton again. I'm hoping that they play it back or show the replay, or maybe that was Kwity Paye, as it looks like he was the one to bring down Josh Allen there. It also does force the fumble to Sean Gross, also there in the backfield, but could not scoop up the sack. Jonathan Grenard also beats his man there. So I want to say it was Kwity Paye who officially got credited with the sack, but it also could have been Grenard who was in that mix as well. So backed up now, 2nd and 19. Here they go empty. A 4-man rush for the Snowhawks. Quick decision there to get it to his back, as that'll pick up 7. Another completion there to the back, Matthews. 3rd and 12. Now at the 32-yard line as this first quarter winds down. Rolling to the left now is Allen. He resets and now going to tuck it up the sideline as he does get the first down and then some. And so let's pick up 16 yards or maybe 18 as he does cross to 50. As we mentioned, Allen had over 100 rushing yards in last year's Super Bowl, and he makes his first big impact with his legs in this game. Now over the middle has a man open, and that's going to be Treylon Burks again for a short completion, although 9, he'll take that every time on first down. Now 2nd and 1, probably going to be the last play here of this first quarter, although they don't have to call it if they don't want to, and they will just call it in the nick of time, as he'll swing that out again for the back. That's Matthews. Keep getting that mixed up, as that will get the first down, and 7-0 lead now for the Snowhawks heading into the second quarter. The Bills driving right now. Josh Allen able to use his legs to convert on that 3rd and very long. Our pass rush has been getting home already a couple times, forced a fumble, but luckily we're unable to come away with it, as Allen was able to scoop up his own fumble, which kept this Buffalo drive going, now taking over at Salt Lake City's 37 here to start the second quarter. Allen from the logo firing over the middle of the field, and that one goes incomplete. I thought Dale Gilmore might be able to crash down on it, maybe come away with an interception. And now Allen on the drop back directly under center, maneuvering in the pocket to try and step up, and again going to be brought down for the sack. That's Ruke Orororo and Caleb Patton teaming up on the interior pressure, and now making it another 3rd and long for Buffalo. 3rd and 13 from the 40, which would be a 57-yard field goal attempt. Allen again from the logo, backtracking too much, as Taylor Goddard able to track him down, and that'll push him back even further past midfield, so no longer in field goal range, as Taylor Goddard adding to his phenomenal rookie campaign, now making 11 sacks for the first-round pick out of Tennessee, and I think he's all but solidified his case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That'll now bring on Bajorquez for another punt, as Buffalo still scoreless. As Bajorquez, that one goes out all the way down to the 6-yard line, so a great punt there as he matches Logan Cook who had a great one down to the 4 earlier in this game. McDonald and Allen, of course, as we've seen already a couple times in this game, both top 5 in passing yards and both also top 5 in MVP voting right now. McDonald, of course, if he wins this head-to-head, you would think he slides up the rankings a little bit. And now we will get for Bigsby backed up deep in our own zone. That one gets nothing. It's been a big struggle for Bigsby in recent weeks to get him going. And now here we will throw it. McDonald almost intercepted. That was right in the hands of none other than Corey Harris. This dude just is a magnet to the ball when he plays against our team. McDonald just giving it right to him. But fortunately, he could not secure that interception. Now on 3rd down, we go for the fake. And McDonald able to get rid of that one just barely as he takes a big hit that time. And that was Ed Oliver in on the pressure. He had a big game in the Super Bowl that we, of course, lost. And now Logan Cook from deep in his own end zone trying to get this one off cleanly, as he does. And Buffalo probably going to have good field position to start, as that's fair caught at the 49-yard line. So 11:57 remaining here in the first half. Buffalo still looking for their first points. We will go back now to the normal sim and do a drive aside, and we'll probably keep that structure for the remainder. Incomplete on 1st down, but they get 14 yards for Keon Coleman. Now threatening. Again, incomplete though on 1st down. 2nd and 10, they get a 4-yard rush from Matthews, bringing up a 3rd and 6. And they do get the conversion. 6-yard rush from Josh Allen, just barely gets it. Pass knocked away by Jerry Sexton, who did have a interception in last year's Super Bowl. 4 yards for Glenn Matthews now on 3rd and 6 at the 22. They get, again, a 6-yard rush from Allen, but does not get the 1st down. So now are they going to go for it on 4th and inches? And they do go for it, but we get the stop as we turn them over on downs inside the red zone. A huge play there from our defense as the Bills played it aggressive, opting for the 4th down conversion, but they are stopped. So still scoreless. Now we take over at the 19. 6-yard rush from Vincent Willis, bringing up 3rd and 4 now. And we do get 11 yards for Wicks as we do get the conversion, moving the chains. Another 12 there for Wicks. Now down to the 49. And we're now into Buffalo territory. 4 yards for Bigsby on the ground. 5 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr., making it 3rd and 1 now. And we do get the conversion. Another 12 for Alvarez. He's had a huge game so far in this first half. And then 28 yards for Harrison Jr. all the way down to the 2-yard line. Now 1st and goal. And we get another touchdown for Carlos Alvarez, his 2nd of the day. And depending on what Puka Nacua does this week, Alvarez now has sole possession of the lead for receiving touchdowns. And now with 4:13 remaining in the half, we will slow sim the rest of it and take it into halftime. Salt Lake City now up 14-0, but we cannot get comfortable because we all know what happened in last year's Super Bowl. Buffalo going to return that from the 5-yard line, but they won't get too far as Isaiah Simmons, another great tackle on special teams. Allen and the Bills taking over at the 23. Starting here in the shotgun with Matthews to his left. They will fake it to him. Allen rolling to the right, going to tuck it and run again as he slides down, gets 3. Make it 2nd and 7 now at the 26. As Allen takes another snap, another 4-man rush for Salt Lake City. A nice pancake there from right guard as Kincaid able to find the soft spot and takes that all the way down to about the 41-yard line, but there is a flag on the play. And that was illegal touching from Kincaid, so they're going to say he was out of bounds and came back into the field of play, which wipes out a huge play there for the Bills. As it's now 3rd and 7, and Quay Walker, number 7, tracking down Josh Allen for the 5th sack already in this first half for Salt Lake City. Really exposing there the right side. Seth Brown, I believe, at right tackle. Or I'm sorry, Spencer Brown at right tackle. Connor McGovern on this offensive line. Then a bunch of drafted guys over the course of this franchise. I think left tackle is Chris Boyce, his first year as a starter. Former 2nd-round pick. And Quay Walker there chasing Allen, tracking him down. And our defense has been phenomenal, as often been the case over the course of this season. Obviously, the addition of Terrion Arnold has paid huge dividends, along with the drafting of Taylor Goddard and Dakota Michaels, both in the 1st round. Now, Drew Collins will take that across midfield. We're taking over at the 48. I'd say we're certainly winning the field position battle in this game, already at 14-0. A chance to add on here from the logo. McDonald does hit Alvarez. That is a short one for 4. Now, perhaps the last play here before the 2-minute warning, although we do not have to snap it if we don't want to, but we will. And McDonald deep in the pocket there. Thought we had Marvin Harrison Jr. open, but that one sails incomplete. 3rd and 6 now at the 44, not quite in field goal range. McDonald time to throw, going to try and roll to the right, but again, that's Greg Rousseau coming off a block there against Colton Miller and make it a hat trick here in the first half for Rousseau. We'll call that a natural hat trick, as he's now up to, I think, 14 sacks now, as he's added 3 already, and it's just so hard to contain him. One of the best pass rushers at this point in the franchise. Logan Cook on for another one, as that one going to bounce at the 1-yard line, and we'll go back for a touchback. Now 1:14 left in the half, 14-0 Salt Lake City. Buffalo, all their timeouts, they will start on the ground here from Matthews. as he gets a few up the middle. 6 yards there for Matthews, now up to the 26. It's 2nd and 4. 70 seconds left in this Week 16 first half. Allen pump fake deep in the pocket, going to throw deep down the field now as that's knocked down. Nathan Scruggs in coverage there against Khalil Shakir, and that one bounced, kind of in the field of play. I thought one of our Snowhawks were going to be there to catch the ricochet for the potential interception, but not the case as that falls incomplete. Now 3rd and 4 with 1:04 left in this first half. Allen off the fake from the 20, going to fire that to the sideline, has a man, that's Khalil Shakir, as he hangs on through the big hit, and that moves the chains. Buffalo's still alive on this drive, less than a minute now. Up to the 43, Josh Allen rolling to the left, as on the move, fires, hits Dalton Kincaid in stride. What a throw there from Josh Allen, and that's going to go 57 yards to the house. A desperation heave, and that's an MVP-type moment for Josh Allen. Dalton Kincaid has just terrorized us going back to last year's Super Bowl, his 2nd touchdown in as many games, and we see Quay Walker there chasing Allen, and Dale Gilmore in coverage there against the tight end, but a mismatch as just a step there. Dalton Kincaid had Gilmore beat. As a little back hamstring action, I think that's what that's called. Not too up to date on my gymnastics, as Josh Allen, like I said, an MVP type moment as he was flushed out of the pocket, going across his body and able to hit Dalton Kincaid as Buffalo finally on the board, and it took until the final minute of the first half. And now 47 seconds left for the offense here. We'll see how aggressive we go. I wouldn't mind just running it a couple times, taking it in halftime. And that Kincaid touchdown is pretty much what happened at the Super Bowl last year. A late first half drive. Kincaid was able to score, and that time we do hook up with Carlos Alvarez at the sideline, his 7th catch already, and 84 receiving yards, along with a touchdown, or actually 2 touchdowns. So if you have him on your fantasy team, he is already up to 27 points, I think, in standard PPR leagues. Now McDonald rolling to the left, just get rid of it, as he's going to be sacked by Taylor Rapp, the veteran safety, and now make it 9 combined sacks for each side in this game. 5 for the Salt Lake City Snowhawks, 4 for the Bills, as Taylor Rapp caused a lot of fits for us in last year's Super Bowl, and again making his presence known as he comes and gets the sack on the safety blitz. Now this time McDonald going to step up and run up the middle, evades a couple defenders there, now past the 35-yard line, brought down at the 33, and he's up to 74 rushing yards already. Just 1 timeout left for the Snowhawks though, 30 seconds remaining here at the 33-yard line. 4-man rush for Buffalo, as McDonald is able to get rid of that one. Thought they might have called that a fumble, but they say the arm was going forward, which makes it incomplete to our delight, as we are able to keep possession now. 2nd down, McDonald from the pocket, going to fling that, has a man open. That's Carlos Alvarez again inside the 5 as he fights ahead for the touchdown. We mentioned a hat trick for Greg Rousseau of sacks, but now making a hat trick of touchdowns for Carlos Alvarez. 8 catches, I think, already over 100 yards, and 3 touchdowns in this first half. What is going on here for Carlos Alvarez? Just exploding and emerging as maybe the best receiver in the NFL at 6'3", I think 230 pounds. He has great speed, great route running, great hands, and really just the total package. The former first-round pick out of Florida State, just his 2nd season, 3 touchdowns already in this game over the Buffalo Bills. You can't make that up as you go 5 plays, 73 yards, just 26 seconds to get a touchdown here before the end of the half. Now Buffalo in on the ensuing return, as another good tackle there on special teams. Pete Werner on first contact that time, as Josh Allen now just 17 seconds left, back down 2 scores. We'll see if he can get another deep heave here. Last year's Super Bowl, towards the end of the half, as I was talking about, they had a ricochet, and Dalton Kincaid came out of nowhere, caught it off the ricochet, and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. Just the craziest play. And now they will start here for Matthews, and they will call a timeout after a 6-yard gain. 13 seconds left, no timeouts left for the Bills. Josh Allen backtracking, now trying to roll to his left, does evade the pressure, being chased by Goddard, and eventually takes the hit, gets rid of it. Now 6 seconds left, maybe the last play in this first half. Allen takes the snap from the 20, rolling to the right, as time does expire now, and he will just get rid of that. So a 21-7 lead heading into halftime. We are up 14 on the defending Super Bowl champion Buffalo Bills, but we cannot forget what happened last year as we squandered a 17-0 lead, but hopefully we can learn from our mistakes. A tremendous drive there towards the end of the half to match that of Buffalo's and keep a 14-point lead as we head into the halftime report. The Rams, we definitely need the Rams to lose, but if we're able to win and keep pace and keep that tiebreaker over them despite being tied in the standings, that is certainly fine with us, but we certainly would like some help as well, as we'll take it here to the northwest. Green Bay at Seattle, as the Seahawks again at risk of falling yet again. I think now at risk of falling in 4 straight games, something like that, as the Green Bay Packers leading them 21-3. The Packers trying to supplant here the Minnesota Vikings in the final weeks there for the NFC North champion. And now Chicago leading San Francisco 17-7. And we certainly would like to see the 49ers fall. We do not want to see them in the playoffs, even though we did sweep the season series against them. And now the Rams hosting the Atlanta Falcons, as the Falcons trying to get that NFC South championship, but currently trailing 20-3 as they're close to halftime. So we're not getting any help there, it seems, as the Rams a 17-point lead, as they're looking to advance to 12-3 as we are. But of course, we did beat them twice already this season, and we have a better division record. So we are up on them in terms of the NFC West and the number 1 seed. But now back to Buffalo, as we'll watch the first drive for each side, then probably sim 2, I think. We're going to try and pick up the pace here, especially if the Bills are unable to fight back. Now Dak Kitchens in on the return, going to be body slammed at the 28-yard line, and McDonald and the offense back after 3 touchdown passes for McDonald. And you see the rushing stats on the season now, over 500 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and he's not too far behind Bigsby for the team lead. McDonald actually was our leading rusher last season, and we have over 250 total yards so far in this game. McDonald, his first drop back, is just hook up with Mark Andrews for 6. I think 4 more passing yards now for McDonald will put him over 4,000 for the season for his second straight year. That one complete to Carlos Alvarez, so he does eclipse that milestone. And Carlos Alvarez now his 9th catch of the day. He is not messing around. He's trying to get that triple crown, up to 124 receiving yards as well, and of course all 3 of our touchdowns. Now a first down to the 41, a quick one there for Dontavion Wicks, gets 6. 2nd and 4 now at the 47. McDonald will fake it for Vince Willis over the middle, as he has Marvin Harrison Jr. That one gets the first down to Buffalo's 43. Bigsby the lone back, as McDonald directly under center will go on the drop back as we go on the out route there for Cortez Bibbs, our 3rd tight end. Probably his first catch of the season, I'll say. That one gets 5. And again, we'll come out in the 13 personnel with the 3 tight ends out there. Marvin Harrison Jr. the lone receiver, as we will get for Bigsby up the middle, and he gets 1. Now 3rd and 4 at the 37. You just can't take a sack here, because I think this is Will Reichert field goal territory. McDonald a quick throw. That one off the mark, as that went away from Mark Andrews, sailed over his head into the hands of Taylor Rapp. But again, we avoid the crisis there of the turnover, as Buffalo drops the interception. So now from 54 yards, Will Reichert from the left hash. He was 4 for 4 last week. Hopefully he can go 1 for 1 this week from 54. Will Reichert up, and that is good. And like I've been saying the last few weeks, I think Will Reichert definitely in the conversation for the best kicker in the NFL. He missed 4 earlier in the season from 50, but has since been perfect. And the 17-point lead make it 3 possession, but I don't know if we're feeling comfortable with a 17-point lead, because we all know what happened last time. But again, Pete Werner on the coverage team going to body slam the returner Josh Albert to the ground. And Josh Allen facing a big deficit, the biggest he's faced in this game, 17 points, the same as his jersey number, as our defense going to keep trying to terrorize him here, as he's racked up a bunch of sacks, but of course it would be nice to intercept him. Now 289 total yards for Salt Lake City, 199 passing. Allen here from the shotgun, his first snap of the second half. Allen going to rip that down the field, and that out of the reach of Dalton Kincaid. Quay Walker, some good coverage deep down the field. And Walker, not known for his coverage ability, definitely more of a run stopper, a thumper, and we even saw him get home for a sack earlier. We send the blitz this time, and Jerry Sexton there to greet Josh Allen. Another sack for our Salt Lake City defense, and we had Sexton get an interception in last year's Super Bowl, and now he greets Josh Allen more close, as he does get in his face, brings him down for the sack, and brings up a 3rd and very long. Make it a 3rd and 18 here at the 21-yard line. Josh Allen out there empty, as again we do send a blitz, and Allen is able to get rid of that when they get the first down again on 3rd and very long. They're able to convert that one for 27. Again, that was Treylon Burks, as we mentioned, the leading receiver for Buffalo so far on this season. I think now over 1,000 for the first time in his career. They do go back to the running game there for Matthews, as he spins off a tackle, takes a big hit, and gets 2. Now smack dab at the 50. Second and 8 for Buffalo. Matthews in motion, as they do swing it out for him, as he has some space up the sideline and track down there. I think Matthew Torrance in on the stop. Nice gain there for Buffalo, as they're putting together a nice opening drive here to the second half after that big conversion on 3rd and very long. Now outside for Matthews, nothing doing that time, as he's tracked down there by Braylon Trice and Caleb Patton. 2nd and 12. Braylon Trice standing up there at the bottom of the defensive line, maybe going to see if he can get home. Well, that's actually Jonathan Grenard, so correction there, but Allen does get that back for Treylon Burks. They get the first down. Burks and Quay Walker getting into it a little bit after that play. Buffalo now a fresh set at the 24. Allen again from the pocket, as he will step up and run, and he will get the first down. Jerry Sexton, and I think that's Deshaun Gross in on the tackle, as Josh Allen now holding the knee, and an injury timeout. That's definitely not good. You never like to see a knee injury, or maybe that's the hamstring, maybe just a tight hamstring. As then I'll bring up the backup quarterback. I did not expect to see that. Josh Allen rarely has missed a snap over the course of this franchise, and they will set up a screen there for Kincaid, and they do get it. Nice job to get the backup in rhythm off the easy setup pass. That one gets 4. As he's back out there empty. I'm not sure who their backup is at this point. I think it is a drafted quarterback, an auto-generated guy. As they'll give him the quarterback draw this time. Definitely not what we were expecting. A tremendous, surprise play call there from Buffalo, as that goes all the way to the 1. Much like Josh Allen, though, this backup looks to be very big in stature, and he looked good moving it up the middle that time, although this time going to be flushed out and brought down for the sack. Again, that's Kwity Paye, 7th sack of the day for Salt Lake City, and that's why sometimes I don't really like these slow sims, because the sack numbers can just get way out of hand. I mean, it does happen sometimes in the NFL, especially now with a backup quarterback here for Buffalo, but now 11 combined sacks, 7 from the Snowhawks. 2nd and goal now at the 12-yard line. Buffalo backed up quite a bit. Now a drop back here for Hogan. Plenty of time to throw. I see that we'll get that for a man, but that was for the running back Matthews, and that falls incomplete. Make it 3rd and goal. Buffalo still out there in an empty set. And it's from the pocket. Going to sail that to the corner of the end zone for Dalton Kincaid, who did have a step there on Quay Walker and Matthew Torrance, but that does sail incomplete. You got to think someone, maybe if Josh Allen was there at quarterback, he might have been able to make that throw, which does bring on now a 29-yard field goal attempt, which will make it a 2-possession game, as it's now 24-10, 4:29 left in the 3rd quarter. A 14-point lead for the Snowhawks, and we will sim a drive aside at least here. A 6-yard scramble for McDonald. He's probably close to 100 yards rushing, as Chris Harris gets home for the sack, now bringing up a 3rd and 9. Harris picked us off twice in the Super Bowl, now a sack, and we're unable to convert. 4th and inches at the 40. I would just go for it, but they do punt it, and that goes all the way down to Buffalo's 4-yard line. So Logan Cook has been very good in this game. They get 6 yards on the ground for Matthews. Some good breathing room, although they do go back 2 on the next carry. So a 3rd and 6 now at their own 8-yard line, but they do get the conversion. Josh Allen is back out on the field. He hooks up with Treylon Burks, moving that up to the 21. They go incomplete now, and it's a 3rd and 10 to start the 4th quarter, and they do not get it. So they are going to punt here, as that was 70 yards from Bojorquez, goes all the way down to the 2-yard line. So both punters very impressive in this game, and we get 7 yards from Brandon Davison, our fullback. Gives us some much-needed breathing room, and we get 3 yards from Bigsby, brings up a 3rd and inches. We just could not get the first down, but we do get it there. On 3rd and inches, Vince Willis moves the chains. Now 4 yards for Bigsby. A heavy run approach on this drive. And then a penalty there against Zach Joseph, probably offside, brings up a 2nd and 1 at the 25. We do get the conversion there. Sean James, I think probably just his 2nd carry of the season. 4 yards there for Bigsby. All runs so far. 4 yards for Willis, brings up 3rd and 2. And we got 2 yards for McDonald, but again, not enough for the first down. 4th and inches. And we punted again. Logan Cook all the way down to the 3-yard line. This dude is just on fire, and we'll see what Buffalo can do here. Taking over deep again in their own zone. Our field position has just been phenomenal in this game, definitely winning the field position battle. They do get a first down, though, and then a 29-yard hit for Burks, which is huge because not much time to work with here, down 14, and that moves it all the way up to the 45. Now Josh Allen, a 6-yard scramble, and then 7 yards to Shakir, as they're now into Snowhawks territory, making it another 25 for Burks, as they're now in the red zone. With 4:04 left in this 4th quarter. After this drive, we'll definitely watch the remainder. Glenn Matthews for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. They get 3 yards for Matthews. Now a 3rd and 2. And only 1 yard for Glenn Matthews. So on 4th and 1, can our defense get another turnover on downs? As we do not. Matthews gets 4 yards. Now 1st and goal. Make it 2nd and goal. And Josh Allen able to get the touchdown on the scramble. So 24-17 now with 1:53 remaining in the game. Like I said, we will slow sim the remainder, and they're not even going to go for the onside kick. Going to trust the defense with 3 timeouts left, but hopefully our offense can just string together, 1 first down, and we're pretty much out of here with a victory. Dre Patton on the return, as he works at the 27. Lucas McDonald now over 4,000 passing yards on the season, 34 touchdown passes as well. 3 in this game, all of which came in the first half, as our offense only able to generate 3 points so far in this second half of play. Stacking the line here as we go for Bigsby up the middle. He's hit hard, gets 3. Buffalo calls their first timeout. Now 2nd and 7 at the 30. We go back for Bigsby up the middle, and he has some room, gets the first down as he's taken down at the 43. He picks up 13. The Bills now just 1 timeout remaining. Now 100 seconds left on the clock here. We're going to go there for, I think that's Sean James again, as he picks up 8. The Bills now with no more timeouts, so we're pretty much going to get out of this one with the victory as we go back for Bigsby. And he does get the first down, so that will all but do it here, as we're going to get some revenge from last year's Super Bowl, as we're going to take down the Buffalo Bills 24-17. Again, we were leading by 17 at one point, and they were able to shrink that down to a 1-possession game, as Lucas McDonald here will take the knee. We're going to have to do that one more time, as he's going to end with over 80 rushing yards, 3 touchdown passes, all of which went to Carlos Alvarez. And now here for the final knee of this Week 16 matchup, as we're officially victorious here against the Buffalo Bills. They're now 7-8, really falling in the AFC East. The Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, and even the New England Patriots all right on their tail, as they were all just 1 game away from the Bills. So Buffalo is going to have to win out here probably to secure that AFC East championship. But more importantly for us, we're now 12-3, as we're adding on to our historic franchise best season. 10 wins last year, and now up to 12 already with 2 more games left to play. We are going to simulate flat out this next game against New England Patriots and see how we're standing after that. If at that point we've already clinched the top seed with a Rams loss, we'll just sim that final week against the Jets as well and wrap up this year 5 season. But a huge win over the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, some much needed revenge, as we were, devastating loss in last year's Super Bowl. We were thinking about that all the way up until this game. This doesn't, rewrite what happened last year. Of course, we definitely need to win the Super Bowl in order for that to, soften the blow of what happened. But at least we get some better closure here, as McDonald outdueled Josh Allen 20 for 27, 225 passing, 3 touchdowns, completed 74%. Allen just 54%, 18 for 33, 274 passing. Did have the upper hand there against McDonald. 1 touchdown. Then we saw Nate Hogan, second-year man out of Troy. He went 1 for 3, 4 passing yards. Also had a rush. We'll see what that rush was. 9 yards up the middle. And that set Buffalo up at the doorstep, but they were just not able to get a touchdown on that drive. And now we're looking at rushing stats. Bigsby 10 for 36. McDonald had 80 rushing yards. Willis was 3 for 14. Sean James 2 for 12. And even Brandon Davison, our fullback, 1 for 7. Carlos Alvarez 9 for 124. 3 touchdowns. You got to think he might be in line for Offensive Player of the Week. Marvin Harrison Jr. 4 for 48. Wicks 3 for 29. Mark Andrews 2 for 15. Defensively, Dale Gilmore led with 12 tackles. You don't really see that much from our free safety. Jerry Sexton with 10. Also had a TFL, a sack, and a pass deflection. Torrance with 8 tackles. Quay Walker and Dakota Michaels each with 7. Patton had 3 tackles for loss. Also a sack and a half. Kwity Paye with 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Taylor Goddard added another sack, now up to 11 or 12 on his rookie season with 2 TFLs. Braylon Trice and also the rookie Randy Fisher. We haven't heard him much lately. They each added a TFL. Ruke Ororo, a half sack, a TFL as well. Matthew Torrance, Quay Walker, each a tackle for loss. Walker and Sexton each had a sack. Now interceptions, we had none again. Pass deflections, 3 from Walker, 2 from Arnold, 1 from Jerry Sexton, and 1 forced fumble from Kwity Paye. Will Record hit his only field goal in this game from deep at 54. Punting, Logan Cook, maybe the best game he's had all season. I want to say he pinned them inside the 5 like 2 or 3 different times. And on all 3 of our returns, we had 21 yards on every single kick return there from Kitchens and Patton. Drew Collins 3 for 15 punt returns, as we advanced to 12-3. And a bunch of upgrades here to address after the game, so we will do that here in episode. Taylor Goddard, 2 skill points available. We've just been racking up the upgrades almost every week now for him. He's up to 89 finesse move, 81 block shed, the power move though at just 70, as we'll try to round that out. We will go power rusher here. We've really just been going into run stopper, and that doesn't improve his overall rating at all, but we do get +3 for power move, also +1 for hit power. So I think +3 for power move, definitely good for now, up to a 73. Now we will go back to that finesse move, as that's not too far from going to 99 already as a rookie, and that one does see his overall go up. And we get +6 for block shed. That is absurd. +3 for play rec and pursuit. +2 for awareness. Nothing for finesse move, but we'll take that +6 for block shed, which is now up to an 87 between his finesse move and block shed. He's one of the better pass rushers already in the game, ranked as the 15th right end in the league at 81 overall, but up to, I think it said 83 with some morale boosts. And now for Dakota Michaels, we also have 2 skill points for him, the 31st overall pick from this past draft, a natural strong safety, but we moved him into the slot, and we've really been working on getting his coverage ratings up, his man coverage up to 83 now. So we'll just go back into man-to-man. That goes up to an 81 overall now, and we get +2 for man, +3 for play rec. And just to even it out a little bit, let's go zone and try to get that zone coverage up, although that we do lose the scheme fit now, which I knew would be a risk. I was hoping that man coverage would stay, but he's now up to an 81 overall slot corner. And as I said, we did lose that man-to-man archetype scheme fit, so that's kind of a big hit, but now up to a 79 zone, 85 man coverage slot corner. And Michaels and Goddard not too far from their next upgrade as well. And now we'll get here to Lucas McDonald. He's up to a 92 overall improviser, but with morale boosts, he's up to a 97 overall quarterback, but we still would like to get him back to a scheme fit. Even though the throw under pressure, short accuracy, medium accuracy, all maxed out, I would like to get him as a field general scheme fit, but there's honestly probably not even any point to that because he really can't improve much else anyway. So I think we'll actually go to strong arm archetype, try and get that throw power up and even that deep accuracy, as that does make him still a 97 overall quarterback. And it gets the throw accuracy deep up 2 and accuracy mid up 1. So nothing there for throw power, unfortunately. But all his accuracy ratings are pretty much maxed out, almost at least. And now going over here to Carlos Alvarez. What a season he's had. He's going to have to hit superstar development at some point soon, you would think. At 6'3", 233, just his second season. He's on pace for like 1,500 receiving yards and close to 20 touchdowns. And now looking at his ratings, the medium route down at 82, the deep route a little bit lower as well at 85, the release at 86. So I think those are the traits we're really looking at this point to improve. For deep threat, we would get that deep route and release, but none of these offer any improvement to medium route running, unfortunately. So we will just go back there into deep threat, as he's now up to an 89 overall with the morale boost, and we get +2 for medium and release, +1 for deep route and catching traffic, as Carlos Alvarez tearing it up for us. We just saw maybe his best career performance in that last game, that last win over the Buffalo Bills. Now our captain here at middle linebacker, Jerry Sexton, he's always making an impact in every phase of the defense. 90 speed up to 77 zone coverage with 87 block shed, 96 tackle. That hit power at 76 definitely could serve to have some improvement, but as we do, we'll just tend to that field general scheme fit. We'll just upgrade that again as he's now up to an 89, and we get improvements there. +2 for man, play rec, pursuit, and +1 for zone. So nothing there for hit power or block shed, but we'll definitely take the improvements there coverage-wise. And with that, here's an updated look at the playoff picture. With just 2 weeks now left in this Year 5 season, our Snowhawks currently holding the top seed in the NFC. We've already punched our ticket to the postseason, but still trying to clinch that #1 seed and NFC West title for the second consecutive season, as we are going to clinch that with a win or a Rams loss in this upcoming week, as they're currently the first wildcard team set for a matchup against the Atlanta Falcons in the first round. Currently at 6-9, tied with New Orleans Saints, but I guess holding the tiebreaker over them. And the Buccaneers, after being 1-10, have won 4 straight at 5-10, as they're still officially, I guess, in the hunt there in the NFC South. The NFC East champion projection here is the Philadelphia Eagles, holding the 2nd seed, as they are going to clinch the division with a win or a Cowboys loss here in Week 17, as the Cowboys are holding that final wild card spot. And now here the 3rd and 6th seed, both from the NFC North, as the Vikings can clinch their 2nd division title in the past 5 seasons with a win or a Packers loss, I believe, in this Week 17 schedule. The Packers and Cowboys currently holding wild card spots, but the 49ers still in the hunt as well. And now going over to the AFC right now, Baltimore projected as the top seed. They are tied with the Cincinnati Bengals. Both of those teams at 12-3. The Bengals still a matchup against the Cleveland Browns in the final week, as that could prove to be a tiebreaker. Baltimore currently 5-1 in the division. Cincinnati currently at 4-1. And they are going to have the 5th seed projected matchup with the New York Jets, who are now at 7-8, tied with the Buffalo Bills for the AFC East lead. We're going to play the Patriots here, who are at 6-9, still in the hunt, I guess, there for the AFC East title. And the Miami Dolphins also at 6-9, so the AFC East still wide open right now. And now for the 3rd seed, it's going to be Indianapolis, as they would host division rival Houston. The Colts right now at 10-5, and I think they did just beat the Texans in the past week or two. And the 2nd seed projected the Kansas City Chiefs, as they would host the Denver Broncos. I think the Los Angeles Chargers currently the same record with the Broncos, but I guess the Broncos do hold that tiebreaker. And I did want to pay attention to some draft stories here. We see Michigan receiver Hoist Heisman. That's Brian Tucker. I think he's like 6'3", 205, physical receiver there from Michigan, projected 1st round pick, I believe. And college football's best quarterback is going to be Stephen Colvin. The #1 overall prospect on the board is actually Stephen Coles from Pittsburgh, but it's Colvin who takes away the hardware there for the best college quarterback this past season. and Ohio State's Virgil Morton was named the best offensive tackle in college football. I think he's the second overall prospect behind Stephen Coles. And there we see their cornerback Damian Tyson held his own in his Olympic trials run, so any doubts about his speed can be put to rest. And there's just some draft stories here as of late, as I do like to incorporate that a little bit. And we are now going to sim here through Week 17, and we can clinch the top seed in the NFC with a win over the Patriots and a Rams loss. I think they're playing the Seahawks, and we do win handily there against the Patriots 38-17. And it looks like we also did have a player of the week here, as Lucas McDonald, his fourth time winning the award this season, a 4-touchdown performance. Also added 1 on the ground, 257 through the air. Nathan Scruggs 2 interceptions to double his season total, as he was the defensive player of the week, picking off Drake May a couple times, and CJ Stroud, the AFC offensive player of the week there, with teammate Azeez Al-Shahir, as Salt Lake City and Houston doubling up this week. And the Snowhawks get a crucial win now, and we'll see what happened to the rest of the league. We'll take a look at the league schedule as we'll go back to Week 17 now. And we see the Bengals did defeat the Commanders, so depending on what Baltimore did, they might hold that top seed now. New York beat San Francisco, pretty much knocking the 49ers out of playoff contention. And the Giants were vying for the top overall pick, so that might knock them out of that spot. Saints-Panthers, a huge one there in the NFC South, as the Panthers defeat the Saints. I think that pretty much knocks the Saints out of playoff contention as well, and we hold their third-round pick, so we're really hoping they wouldn't come home with the NFC South championship, but it looks like it's probably going to be Atlanta or maybe even Tampa Bay, as the Falcons do upset Denver, and the Falcons now at 7-9. I think that might be enough to clinch the division, because Tampa Bay only had 5 wins entering this week despite their late season rally. Houston takes care of business there against the Vikings, as now they're tied with Green Bay for the NFC North lead, as the Packers beat the Bears there on the road. So Minnesota and Green Bay now tied atop the NFC North. We'll see what happens here in the final week. The Browns beat the Jags there 12-7. Super low scoring game there, as the Browns are still, I guess, in playoff contention there for a wild card spot. That does shatter, I think, the Jags' hopes, though. Green Bay, a big win for them, as they're barely holding on to a playoff spot. And the Buccaneers here do beat the Cowboys. But even with that 49ers loss, I still think the Cowboys are holding a wild card spot. But the Buccaneers, after starting 1-10, they've won 5 straight, now 6-10. And even in their pitiful division, too little too late, as I'm pretty sure the Falcons now have clinched that number 4 seed and the NFC South title, as we actually did predict that back in the season preview episode. Baltimore probably going to have that top seed as they edge out Miami. Kansas City, a 31-0 victory shutout there over the Raiders. Vegas might end up with the top pick in this year's draft. The Rams, they do win there against the Seahawks, though, so we still do need to win here in the final week, or we need a Rams loss. Worst case scenario would be losing and the Rams winning. I think they're going to play the 49ers. Hopefully San Fran can play spoiler there, and our 38-17 victory here over the Patriots, as we dominated there in the second half, more specifically 21-0 there in the fourth quarter, as we forced 4 turnovers in this game. Drake May threw 4 interceptions, only completing 45% of his passes, was 16 for 35. McDonald 21 for 34 for 61%. He threw 4 touchdowns to 1 interception, a reverse stat line there from Drake May, who finished with a 34 passer rating. Very, very low, of course. DeJuan Randolph was a 4th-round steal, came back at like 78 overall, hidden development, and he might be in line for AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was 20 for 82 and a touchdown. Tank Bigsby for just 9 for 20. Manny Reynolds 5 for 17, the rookie out of Cal. McDonald was 2 for 15, also added a touchdown on the ground. You love to see that. Now going over to receiving, Dontavion Wicks led the charge in this one, 7 for 90 and a score. Mark Andrews 5 for 75, a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 for 34. Manny Reynolds 2 for 24 and a touchdown, the rookie, with his first career touchdown, I want to say. Carlos Alvarez, though, held to just 2 for 14, did add a touchdown, but Puka Nacua added 2 last week, so they were tied entering this game. Hopefully Nacua for once was held without a score, though, this week, which would have Alvarez gain pace there. And now going over to defense, leading the way in tackles was Dakota Michaels with 8. Sexton was second with 6 tackles for loss. We had 1 from Sexton, Randy Fisher, as he also added 2 sacks as a rookie, kind of getting hot here in the final weeks. I think he only had 1 sack entering this matchup. Kwity Paye also with a TFL and a sack. Renard a sack. Ruke and Taylor Goddard each added a TFL as well. And we saw Fisher had those 2 sacks, Paye with 1. Caleb Patton adds another, maybe 14 or 15 on the season for him. And we saw Nathan Scruggs was Defensive Player of the Week with 2 interceptions, but Tashawn Gross, our linebacker, also added 2. His second year out of Arizona State, had superstar development last year as a rookie, but that regressed all the way down to normal for some reason. Sexton and Dale Gilmore each with a pass deflection. No forced fumbles in this one. And field goals, well record 1 for 2, hit from 52, was 5 for 5 on extra points. But again, a miss from beyond 50, so all 5 of his misses so far have been from beyond 50. From less than that, he has been perfect. Logan Cook, another tremendous day punting the football. As we'll now back out and take a look at the remaining games here from Week 17. The Colts barely edge out the Chargers as it looks like they're going to clinch the AFC South Division title. They were trailing 10-0 at halftime, 10-3 entering the fourth quarter, but went on a 9-0 run and beat the Chargers here as that pretty much knocks out Los Angeles in playoff contention. The Eagles barely beat the Steelers here just by 2 points. The Detroit Lions beat the Tennessee Titans 24-18 as the Titans, I think, might be in line now for the number 1 overall pick, or maybe that's going to be the Raiders. And here the Buffalo Bills beat the New York Jets in a huge division matchup there 28-10, and we'll see if that was enough to clinch the AFC East, as I think it probably would be, as now the 4-5 in the AFC would be Buffalo, Cincinnati, the 3-6 still Indianapolis, Houston, and then 2-7 still Kansas City, Denver, with Baltimore still projected as a top seed. And it's also the same exact picture here in the NFC, so not much has changed, but we'll see what has been clinched so far as we'll go over to the actual standings. And we see right here 8 spots have already been clinched for the NFL playoffs, 5 from the AFC, 3 from the NFC, that being the Eagles who have clinched the NFC East. So I guess the Falcons have not clinched quite yet, as we'll go down to the NFC South. And I guess the Bucs are still in play, maybe even the Saints, depending on division record, as the Bucs with a 4-2 division record. I think with a win and a Falcons loss, the Buccaneers might sneak in, which would be quite something. That would be a 6-game winning streak after starting 1-10, but even worse, it would be a 7-10 division champ getting into the playoffs. But you would have to think the Falcons are going to hang strong and secure it. And the NFC East already has been secured by the Eagles, but the Cowboys at 8-8, also the 49ers at 8-8, they're both still in contention for a wild card spot. I thought the 49ers losing last week would knock them out, which also leaves the Packers and Vikings, as I think one of these teams going to end up with a wild card spot maybe, depending on conference record, which it would get a little more tricky in that situation. But the Vikings at 5-0 in the division, and they are going to play the Packers here in this final week. So the winner of that Week 18 matchup going to end up winning the NFC North this season. It all comes down to this final week, and then we'll see what happens in the wild card situation. So only 3 playoff spots settled here in the NFC. I thought it was a little more clear than that. Now going over to the AFC, 5 of the 7 already settled, but the AFC East still does need someone to clinch. So I guess the Bills and Jets still in it. So if the Jets beat us and the Bills lose here in the final week, that would mean the Jets win the division, and then the Bills would have to hopefully settle for a wild card spot. But it's definitely not set in stone that last year's Super Bowl champion end up making it even to the playoffs. And I guess the Chargers actually still in it as well for a wild card spot despite that loss, and the Browns are still in it as well. So a little bit tricky here heading into the final week, but for us, it's clear win, and we clinch that top seed, or a Rams loss on the road against San Francisco also clinches that top seed for us. Big games between Cincinnati and Cleveland. The Browns trying to sneak in to one of those wild card spots. The Bengals hoping for that number 1 seed, although the Ravens with a favorable matchup against the Saints, as they're likely to end 14-3 as the top seed in the AFC. And our Snowhawks going to finish on the road against the Jets, as they can sneak in as the AFC East champions with a win and a Bills loss, as they're going to host the Detroit Lions. And then for the NFC South, the Buccaneers on the road against Denver. They can sneak in as the division champs with a win and a Falcons loss at home against the New York Giants. But this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. I was really hoping to bring a conclusion to this Year 5 season in this episode, but seeing as how we still have our playoff fate up in the air, as a number 1 seed still unsecured, as we're still going up against the Los Angeles Rams, we need a win in the final week against the New York Jets, or we need a loss from the Los Angeles Rams against the San Francisco 49ers. We do have a couple upgrades here as we close out the episode. Nathan Scruggs already up to a 99 overall there in man coverage, so we are going to just address zone here, as it does put him up to a 92 overall now, as he gets +2 there for zone. But our opponent there in Week 18, New York Jets, still up for the AFC East division title if they can come away with a win, and the Buffalo Bills are able to lose. So the Jets a lot to play for in that final week, and a bunch of other playoff scenarios that still have to be settled. And yet another upgrade here for Taylor Goddard. Will go right back to speed rusher, as he's now up to an 84 overall. A bunch of upgrades there. You get +5 for hit power, +6 for power move, +2 play rec and awareness, +1 for block shed, and I did not see that coming. So between his last 2 upgrades, his power move now up to a 79, which has been boosted like 8 or 9 points to hit power, now up to 85, as he's having a phenomenal rookie season, and definitely up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dakota Michaels, his main competition at this point, and yet another upgrade here for Michaels. We'll go back to man and try and get that scheme fit back, but we do not. He does get 5 upgrades there, including +3 for press, +1 for man and zone. So in the next episode, we are going to conclude this Year 5 season in a road game against New York Jets. And following that matchup, we are going to do our Year 5 season recap, take a look at our league leaders, our player stats, the final playoff picture, and preview the Year 5 playoffs, the 2028 NFL playoffs, as our Snowhawks looking to get back to the Super Bowl, but better than that, we're looking to win it this time as we have redemption on our mind. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.